Past Dead Paranormal. Here we go. All right, now it's loading. I don't know what the heck happened. Half Past Dead Paranormal.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Who's here now?
Always doing all kinds of weird, funky, freaky things for me now. Isn't that nice? 6 results. Paranormal. Half Past Dead Paranormal. And I'm supposed to... Fucky.
You're still muted. Nothing's playing in your show, just to let you know.
Who's muted?
Blog Talk? Blog Talk's not playing.
It's not?
No.
Well,
when I go to Blog Talk on the main screen, nothing's activated, nothing's playing, nothing's open. Can't even hear you, nothing. That's why I was trying to let you know. I could call in, but nobody's going to hear me.
Well, son of a... And I had that set up, too. Dad, burn it.
Well...
Now, Roger's there. All right, now here it is. I'm going to come back to the flash.
People are here.
Someone just came in. I'm connecting. Skin, load, flash. 2 users. And guest 1533. Who's that?
1533. Where?
I don't know. You got it.
I don't see a 1533.
I do.
Okay, well, you're seeing things I'm not. I've got 1580. I've got 1404, 5943, 3828, and 7240.
Yeah, I don't see it broadcasting again. So I don't even know if anybody, any listeners, can hear us.
There's the chat.
Okay, it says on air, and then above that it says stream left.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, it's not
Roger,
playing.
What?
Hello?
Who's down there?
This is Mishka.
Oh, Mishka.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, Mishka, Pam's on here.
Pam's on here, Mishka's on here.
Hi, Pam.
Lord Rick is
Hey,
here.
Mishka. I'm sitting in my car at a laundromat.
Oh.
Okay, Rick. Everything
Well,
you
you
working like it did on the last show that we done when Hank was on here, and I don't know what you're seeing where it says it's not broadcasting or whatever, but everybody that's here can hear everybody that's here.
Yeah,
Everybody that can call in can hear each other. Everybody that can call in can hear it, but you don't have any live listeners because the chat room is not running proper. Like I've used Blog Talk tons of times, and it's not broadcasting right now. So it's just us talking amongst each other, and that's not going to be good if you got listeners who want to tune in.
Yeah, it's just like a conference call almost. It's not going out to everybody. It's just us.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right now, baby.
Oh, boy.
Okay, the chat room window is open now, and...
Okay, another user has logged in using this account. You are disconnected.
Yeah, I couldn't sign in at all this time.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I don't know what's going on, folks.
Oh, well, we'll keep trying.
Yeah.
Trying, that's for sure.
Maybe you got to call in. I don't know.
I couldn't get anything on the computer, but I can call. When I called in, I could hear you.
Yeah.
Y'all see why Roger's my tech guy instead of me? I'm watching Green Acres and listening, so.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I was a kid. I remember watching that.
Rick, I don't know what's up, buddy.
Well,
okay.
I guess.
What do we want to...
So, have you been talking about anything, or just trying to figure out this radio thing?
Well, Rick just got here a couple of minutes ago, and he's saying we're not broadcasting live, so I don't know what's up.
I think because you didn't. I don't know if because you didn't schedule the thing. That's why it's not broadcasting, because it says Friday the 25th at 3:30 Pacific time, and I think you have to schedule ahead of time with Blog Talk to work.
Okay, well, I scheduled this episode back last week.
Yeah. We've been keeping track of that.
And I've been advertising it all week, so, I don't see what the problem would have been.
I don't know. It should be broadcast, and something's up.
Right.
Can't tell you what, but something is.
You know, I mean, I'm in the control panel here now. I can see who's here and well, not who's here,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what we'll do is I'll just put you on speakerphone, and you can do the interview, and I'll record it. And then I'll just put it on my YouTube, and you can advertise it or whatever, because I'm not going to waste a good opportunity to talk about the paranormal.
No.
You know what I'm saying? No. But got to figure a way around this, because it's not going to broadcast. I don't know why. Maybe it's a problem with Blog Talk at the moment, but we can go ahead and
try to what you plan, and then we'll do a Q&A after that.
It will record what we're doing, so I'll have a recording of it.
So let's let him go ahead and get that, and then we'll do a Q&A after that.
So you just jump in there, Rick, and do your thing, and maybe later on toward the end of this thing, you know, if anybody wants to ask questions or whatever, they can do that. And if Hank has no problem with that, we'll just let you take it and do your thing.
Whatever you want to do, Roger. You're the captain of this ship.
Take off.
Well, the floor is yours, buddy.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I'm losing people.
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, waiting on Rick. Take off and do your thing there, buddy. It's all yours.
Well, if you want to ask me questions, you can ask me questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk. If you want me to just talk, that's fine, too.
Go for it, Rick.
I can talk about what happened a couple weeks ago, if that's all right. So it's up to you what you want to do, or if you want to have people just ask me questions, I can answer questions. It doesn't really matter to me.
What happened a couple of weeks ago? Was that in Virginia City?
No, I went to Virginia City to go party. I went elsewhere. I did, honestly, because I rewarded it to my investigator, because one of our investigators, well, she's not really an investigator, she's a member, and she's been following our group for about a year and a half and really liked the adventures and the work we were putting out. So she said, you know what, I'll fly to you, we'll rent a Jeep or whatever, and we'll go, you can take me to some places. I said, fair enough. And so about a week and a half ago, it was the 17th through the 20th of April, we had decided to do a 4-trip. And these are major investigations, because I don't always go out paranormal investigating for 4 days. But I do go out sometimes, and I'll camp for 3 days and look for Bigfoot, or like, you know, Virginia City is just a day trip, because when you go to Virginia City, not only do you got to investigate, but you got to go to all the breweries and pubs, and you have to experience Virginia City full. You got to eat dinner there and go see some entertainment and things like that. But we spent Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. We went to Donner Lake Railroad Tunnels and in the ghost town of Dutch Flat, where there's a couple cemeteries. And because I wanted to start her off slow, because up here I live at 5,000 feet, but when we go investigating, we can get as high as over 11,000 feet on some of our investigations, and a lot of people get elevation sickness. So what I did is I took her out to, the first day was like we spent in this ghost town. And, you know, they have two old cemeteries. One's Dutch, one's Chinese. The Chinese one sits in the cemetery, or sits in the wood, and it's extremely overgrown. It's neglected, you know. But we went there, and you'd be surprised that when you walk to these ghost towns, or these semi-ghost towns, because they're all over the West, up in the Sierra Mountains in Nevada, a lot of them have good ghost tales, good ghost stories. And so I'm able to walk around any given semi-ghost town, which semi-ghost towns mean that there are historical and abandoned sites, both, some preserved, some non-preserved. But we went there, and I had about a store owner, two different store business owners had told me some ghost stories about the inn, about some of the haunted buildings. We seen an old hearse wagon. So I started Sue off, her name's Sue. I started her off really easy. I didn't just jump on in. I wanted her to do a couple cemeteries, and then I gave her a little bit of a challenge because that night, about 3 hours before sundown, we went to a place called the Donner Lake Railroad Tunnels. And Donner Lake is an area that back in the 1800s, when the party was crossing the Sierras, they had gotten stuck in the pass because it started snowing in October. And they ended up being cannibals and eating one another, but they ate their deceased. They didn't eat live people. And they also ate their horses and their dogs and their shoe leather and all these other things, and they nearly, half of them froze to death, you know? So Donner Lake is real haunted, but above Donner Lake is a secret. It's a place where there's about 8 train tunnels, and one of the train tunnels, about 300 Chinamen had died. The Chinese were very predominant in that area, just like Dutch Flat. There's a cemetery, like I said, all Chinese in the woods. And the entire ghost town had burnt down, at least the Chinese part of it. So these same workers that are found in the cemetery built those railroad tunnels. And we went up to the railroad tunnels, and like some of them are almost a half mile long. They go right into Donner Summit, which overlooks Donner Lake, where the Donner Party is, or where they died or ate one another. So we're hiking through the tunnels. We get through I'd say about 5 tunnels I got through, and there's an old China wall, and not too far from the China wall, I found a strange impression. It wasn't a bear, it wasn't a coyote or a mountain lion or anything like that. We look in our work. We look for a lot of toe impressions because it's the toes you want to definitely find when you're Bigfoot tracking. But I found 2 tracks. I found one going through the tunnels, and then I found a second track on my way back just before it got dark, and that was a fresh one. And one of the tracks looked like a giant handprint. We have, us as Homo sapiens, we have very slender fingers, Our thumb is our biggest finger, or if you want to call it a finger, I don't know. But this is it was like 4 or 5 thumbnails all together. Looked like a massive fingers, and one of them was toe impressions I found. And see, up by the railroad tunnels, people don't realize this on the East Coast, but when you go up into the mountains here, you can have snow up in those mountains till July. So when we went to Donner Lake, there was places between each tunnel on the side of the mountain that are 2 feet deep. You slip in that snow, you go off the cliff, it's game over. So we had to be really careful trekking through the snow and the ice. But that's the best time to look for Sasquatch, because when you go up into the woods like that, you want mud. You want to track this creature, to track it down, basically. So our first day was really good. Our second day, I took her out to a place called Grantsville. Grantsville is a ghost town. It's by Berlin and Ione. Sits in the center of Nevada. And if you've ever been in Nevada, you know this is the most mountainous state. This state, you can go on wagon roads for 100 miles and not see civilization out here. It is one of the last frontiers. And I'm not from Nevada, but my heart is a true Nevadan. I like mountains. I like cliffs. I like cliff climbing. I like going in mines and tunnels. So Grantsville was just a big playground for the Lord, because I went to Grantsville, and that's a very well-preserved ghost town, but it's very secluded. If you get bit by a snake, a scorpion, whatever you get bit by, it could kill you out there. And people don't realize that the work we do is very dangerous, because when you start working with places in the middle of nowhere, there are so many risks involved. You deal with people sometimes with guns, you deal with tarantulas, you deal with snakes trying to bite you. It's just, you inch along a cliff to get up to some mine, and your mine's up near a cliff. You got to worry about falling off the cliff. So I took Sue there. Great preserved ghost town, a lot of walls, a lot of stuff, and my kids and I were looking around up behind. They have these ore chutes in this mill, and we look behind, kind of in the corner, and I found a mine. And I went in the mine. I made sure my kids and Sue didn't go in. Not a lot of oxygen. Not a lot of oxygen in the mines. You could die. There could be a chamber in a mine where there's no air and it sucks the air out of your lungs and you die instantly. But I went into this mine, and I must have spent about 45 minutes in there, you know, and I didn't think much of it because you lose track of time when you're in a mine because you go in, you're underground, and all you concentrate on are the shafts, if you're going to fall down a hole. And the thing was, this mine that's in Grantsville is so huge, I didn't see it all. I went in, I spent 45 minutes taking tunnels and turnoffs, and it is so easy to get lost because when you go in one room, it branches to 3 rooms, and then those tunnels branch 3 different ways, and it branches out inside the mountain. And there was some shafts, there was some big rooms the size of my living room, maybe my house, and so I'm in this tunnel by myself, you know, and I'm very deep in, and I see this, what looked like a drawing of a demon on the mine wall. It wasn't. It turned out to be something natural. The rock was stained by water. But I sat there and thought, man, you know, because when I went past that, I came to this room, really spooky room. You know, I mean, the deeper you go in this place, the more foreboding it gets. And I go all the way back there. I'm thinking, is the air going to get sucked out of my lungs? Is this worth the chance? Is this worth the paranormal? Yeah, it is. If I die, I die. But I go back there, and I feel something like practically touching me, you know? It's like right on my shoulder. I mean, and that's the thing about mines, that a lot of people in the occult will go to mines and they will do rituals, they will do sacrifices, and they'll do evil things, and that energy can carry over. And you can go in a mine and you're going to see entities, you're going to see ghosts, you're going to get EVPs, you're going to get EMF. But, you know, I came out of the mine, and I thought the mine was the highlight of Grantsville. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the exploration was great. You know, bada bing, bada boom. You know, a lot of history there, but the mine is the meat of the paranormal in any of these ghost towns. That's where the ghosts are. The miners would die trying to mine these mines. It wasn't a pretty sight. I mean, sometimes 20 miners would fall at once. The rope would break. All of them would go down a 300, 400, 500, 1,000-foot shaft. It was very dangerous. So when I go in these mines, I always have to be aware, because if you don't look where you're stepping, you can fall down a hole that's 1,000 feet deep, and you are not going to survive it. So there was ladders going on. Sue did get the whole ghost town experience because I wanted to show people, and through her, so she can, because our paranormal organization's all word of mouth, you know. Over the years, some people have been following us 13, 14 years almost, and they tell their friends. And that's what it was, is her friend told us about our society, so she came out to do it. And the first 2 days were nothing, you know. But when you go out, the thing was, I was in the middle of moving, and I turned around and I left moving, you know, and I went to cleaning my old place up, to getting up, like sun up every friggin' morning and driving 200, 300, 400 miles in one day. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was getting up at like 5:30 in the morning, and 6 o'clock we were leaving, 7 o'clock, and I would be on the road for 3 hours, you know. But I turned around the third day. That's when I started really getting tired. But I will say that the third day was awesome because we went to another ghost town. This is my second investigation here. My first investigation, something threw a piece of wood at my truck. It's called Star Canyon. Middle of the Nevada desert, high desert, but when you go in the mountains, there is national forest in parts of Nevada. So I always thought to myself, it's possible Bigfoot could be up in this region of Nevada, only because it has, the Shoshone Mountains do have forest. And we went up in the Star Canyon, and there's, you know, foundations within the canyon where the town used to be. This is a town of like 1,000 people. They had saloons, a church, a school, this, that, you know, and all that's left is stone foundations. But we went up the canyon, and you start going up to Thunder Mountain and Star Peak, so the road becomes real rugged, plus it's a mining road. And I said, my second time coming up here, I'm going to do a mine, which is the Sheba mine, which sits in the back end of Star City. So we went to the Sheba mine, and this time I was able to take Sue and my kids into the mine. And we went into the mine, went all the way back, took a couple tunnels, and I asked, I said, give me a sign that you're here if you're here with me, I mean, I don't bullshit, I don't play games. When I go investigating and I talk to ghosts or entities, I'm pretty blunt at what I want them to do. And we heard like this moan or this groan. It was hard to explain. It was almost like a man that said something to us inside the mine. Sue heard it. I heard it. My kids heard it. But my kids are less, they really don't care about ghosts very much, so it doesn't matter to them. It's like, oh, this is nothing new. We're always going in, haunted places. But something replied to me in that mine. And we had roamed the entire Sheba mine. Now, I almost made it to the Sheba last year ago, but I had gotten too flats. I got stuck in snow, and I turned around, and on my way out, something through the wood. This time around, we had ghost activity within the mine. And so our second investigation, we found foundations and all sorts of things. And it's going to, all these places I'm talking about, they'll all be on our site eventually. I'll have pictures, video, audio, evidence. I will have history. I'll have everything on these places, because when we do a project, we don't just throw a couple photos up and say, there it is. I mean, we put work into of what we do. We cover nature. I mean, we see nature, so we film it, we photograph it, just like National Geographic. Paranormal evidence, history, reports, scenic photos. We go all out, because a lot of the places I do, it's God's country, I mean, it's very beautiful, very scenic. There's a lot of butterflies, flowers, animals, and there's also a lot of paranormal, too, if you go seek it out. And that's the problem we have nowadays. A lot of paranormal groups, they're not gonna go all out. If you cannot risk your life, if you cannot say I'll die for the paranormal, you shouldn't be in this field, because you may have to die to get to the truth. If you want to find underground aliens, you may just walk into an underground alien cavern, and it's 50-50. You're either going to make it out or you're going to die and be eaten. If you're eaten, you're eaten. That's what you signed up to do. But our last day was our grand finale. See, I went to Virginia City after all this because I wanted to reward Sue. I wanted her to have the whole, go up there, drink different brews, have a good time. But I always get my work done before I party, And so our last day, I took her up into the high Sierras. See, she's never been in the high Sierras. I took her. Donner Lake is lower Sierras. They only get to about 7,000-8,000 feet, but the higher Sierras get to 11,000-12,000 feet. And so we went to a place called Showers Lake, and you got to climb up to Red Peak almost, over two high ridges and into this basin. It's a lake basin, so there's like meadows, there's creeks, there's rivers, there's lakes, and it's all surrounded 360 degrees by cliffs and mountains. It's also Bigfoot country. And when we went up there, I didn't know what to expect, but we had gotten a snow a couple of weeks ago in the mountains that was 5 feet deep. So when we got there, the snow and some...
You're going to have to try to wrap it up here soon, because it's going to cut us off.
Okay, well, how many minutes do I have?
I don't know, because the time already ran out, and it'll run so far past that, but then it'll just cut you off in mid-sentence if you ain't careful.
Okay, well, we went up to Showers Lake, and there was about 8 feet of snow, and we hiked 5 miles in, and we get to the Showers Lake. We're about a half mile in, and we hear something banging on the trees. And then all of a sudden from the north, the banging gets closer and closer. Then from the east, which was to my right, there was more banging, and then to the south. We were surrounded on 3 sides to 4 sides of something banging on trees doing odd vocalizations about 150 to 200 feet. I couldn't see it because they were all hiding behind the trees. We couldn't see it. And it was, I'm telling you, talk about a terrifying Bigfoot experience. Not only did we find prints back in this area, but we also were surrounded on 3 sides with the lake. The ice is real weak on the lake, so we had the lakes to our left, which was the west. and we just stood still because we could hear growls and groans and moans and vocalizations, and we knew we were close. Sue stayed behind. She couldn't make it over the high Sierras. You have to climb over the mountain to get back here, and the snow was just killing her. And I told her, I said, you'll have a greater respect for what we do because the air is thin, and we had hiked 5 miles in the snow. I mean, I'm a mountain man. There's no doubt about that. But the Bigfoot, you know, that's why we do the high Sierras, because it's got a healthy Bigfoot population. So I'd like to talk about it more, but if you're almost out of time, I probably should take some questions, huh?
Yeah, do that
You know,
real
I have a
quick,
question.
and then if you want to come back next week and finish up, that's fine.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. You know, I'll call in anytime. I mean, I call in all kinds of shows, but you know, our group.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider Bigfoot paranormal?
Anything unknown is paranormal until it becomes known. That's the thing. Bigfoot, the thing about Bigfoot is everybody argues and says, oh, it's probably the missing link or Gigantopithecus or one of these other ancient creatures. But the other thing about it is a lot of UFO activity is related to Bigfoot. Like people will see UFOs and then maybe 20 minutes later they will see 1 or 2, 3, 4 Bigfoot creatures in the woods. So we could say it's alien, and if it's alien, it is paranormal. We don't know what it is. It's the unknown. It's totally unknown. Until we can classify it and scientifically get DNA, it remains, one of the most elusive, unknown creatures known to man. And, of course, I've seen them, so I know they're real, but I get a lot of good impressions, and that's, something's got to be leaving them in the wilderness, especially when you're hiking through 8 feet of snow and there's not a human back there for miles. But, I hope that answers a little bit of your question.
Yeah, I
Can you
just
hear
wanted
me?
your opinion on that. I'm very familiar with the area. I'm from California.
Hello?
And so I'm very familiar with the area that you were in. I did a lot of backpacking back there. And I'm familiar with the tunnels that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I experienced more with the Chinese cemeteries and their walls.
Well, the wall's at the tunnels, but the Chinese cemetery is in Dutch Flat, which is just further into the foothills and not Donner Lake area. But those Chinese immigrants died when they were dynamiting the tunnels.
Right.
Their ghosts do haunt those tunnels. Those tunnels had some activity. Not a lot, but there was some paranormal activity there. And that's why I did it.
But on the very far side of the tunnels, up further, there's a rock wall. Are you familiar with the rock wall? It's like thousands of rock made out of the wall.
Yeah, that's the Great Wall is made of rock, and it's about 20 feet high and about 4 feet thick, maybe 5 feet thick.
Yeah.
That they say that's part of a Great Wall they built, and I don't know why they built it.
They built that wall, but I think that's part of their cemetery.
There's a dog barking.
I know. I hear a dog barking. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't hear nothing.
I can't either.
I'm sorry, y'all. My
that
dog
rock
heard
wall
something. They're acting like
very, very active. If you ever go back to that wall and sit there real quiet, and things will be coming at you.
I'd believe it. I found some strange tracks up by the tunnels. I know they're not human, and I know they're not an animal. So what could they be? It's just it's very remote back there. A lot of people don't realize how remote, especially this time of year. A lot of snow up there. There is nobody there.
Yeah.
So, ghost activity, Bigfoot, all those things, I believe, are in that area. I actually hung out on the new train tunnel. I hung my legs over the edge and sat up there, for a little while. It's nice. It's very nice. I'm glad someone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It is nice. Very serene up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never gone.
I would believe that place has.
I never went when there was snow. I always went in the summertime.
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of investigations in the snow. It might be like 80 degrees out, but there's still 3 to 8 feet of snow in the high Sierras. So we just grin and bear it, and we do what we got to do, and just be like, oh well, you know. I mean, we find tracks in the snow all the time. That's why I love the snow. But the summer's nice too when it's all gone, because then you can start tracking in the mud, and we get a lot of prints in the mud too. So it's, you know, it just depends.
Yeah.
Depends where you're at.
Summertime is great because then you can stay out there. We just backpack out there and just spend a couple of nights out there. It's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
but it was nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll probably call in next week if Roger wants me to talk more about the paranormal. I could always talk about things that we do so much work. It's unbelievable.
If you want to come back next Friday and carry on, that's fine with us. We'll just keep going until you get done.
Yeah. Well,
I'd like to hear more about the Donner.
Yeah, right? So that's good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And also, y'all, I have a chat room through Blog Talk, where we can carry on conversation if you guys want to hear more. It won't be a live recording, but, you know, if you guys just want to talk some more about it and everything, I can load that chat room up and we can all get in there and just keep things going.
Well, you guys.
Yeah, you have the whole vocal thing going on. Vocal or whatever.
No, this is through Blog Talk, and it's you can do it. I believe audio or just chat, either one, text chat. I found out I had that today. I didn't know I had it.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I know that in the chat room it's not opening for me. So, but if you're recording this, just send me a copy. I'll put it on YouTube, and I can get it out to 20,000 people at least. Now, whether 20,000 will listen to it, I don't know. But you know, I'm always share with people, and if they want to listen to them, they'll learn. If they don't want to listen and learn, that's up to them. But I know that Bigfoot's real. I've seen it. I've tracked it many times backpacking. I'm a good tracker. I tracked Sue. She went back to the vehicle in the mountains, and we tracked her back to the road into the vehicle. I mean, we can track you. You're not going to run from me. I'm like Michael Myers coming, you know. But I mean, seriously, what we do is we have to know how to, you know, function outdoors. It doesn't matter if it's cold, snow, and whatever. The only bad thing about Showers Lake was when I went, the snow was okay. I've lost feeling in a couple of my toes. But one thing that really bothered me the most is that there was these avalanche zones everywhere in the canyon and on some of the high cliffs near us. And I just tried to go around and meander around them all because people die in avalanches all the time up there. And I mean, I had to go around them because I know where they're at. See, and that was the thing I was worried about. Sue, she didn't go in far enough to worry about it, but we went into some narrow areas, and you could see where the snow was built up and just hanging by a thread. And I'm thinking, you know, if we're too loud, we shout, we're going to cause an avalanche. We're going to die here. So I had to, in addition to looking for Bigfoot, I had to also be cautious and safe and very meticulous because heading back to the vehicle was a nightmare. The sun came out, the snow was warming, it was just, a storm came in. I mean, there was like 50-mile-an-hour winds, dark clouds, it was snowing up there, raining. It was bad. And those avalanche zones could have gave away. I could have not made it a couple weeks ago. I'm here, but it could have happened, and we would have been in deep trouble. Even though I stay away from them, that doesn't mean they still won't get you. They can still travel a half mile down the canyon and just keep going and going. So we were a little nervous about the avalanches. But, you know, like I say, that's the risk we take when we go out there to investigate. There's always going to be some risk involved, and you just have to sometimes do it. It doesn't matter. I don't care what others think. At least people can say one thing: when I die, they can say he's dedicated to his research. He loves the paranormal. Because people who don't risk themselves, they only care about fame and fortune and not having to work for it. And we have to work at everything we do. We work hard at it. Nothing gets handed to me. I have to spend miles hiking just to find one track, and that's fine. It is what it is. But it's still dangerous, and people need to be very well aware. I almost flipped the truck in Star City because we went up this mining road, and it was so rough, and I had to come back down the mining road. Branches are scraping the sides of the rental vehicle. It's so tight. I'm climbing boulders on the way down, and there's a cliff next to me, and the truck almost rolled. I had it on 2 wheels. It went on 2 wheels.
And poor Sue, she was holding on tight, screaming at me. She was swearing and crying at the same time because the Xterra, the Nissan Xterra, was on 2 wheels. And the thing is that when I pulled it close to the bank of the mountain to keep it from, if it rolled, to keep it from going down into the wash where the creek was or cliff, it was just straight drop off, and it goes, we would roll probably 5-6 times. But I understand, people are scared and they don't realize that it's just as dangerous to investigate these places as it is to travel to these locations. And you have to understand that with reward comes great risk. And I have been off-roading for many years, and it's a skill you acquire by doing it. It's not something I can teach, but it is something that's very important, that we have to be sure that we're okay off-roading 50-60 miles down a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, and you have to make sure you don't roll it, because if you get stranded, you could die out there. So we were coming down this old mining road. A lot of mining roads are very rugged, lots of boulders, rocks, or straight edge drop off. And the first time I had it on 3 wheels, I backed it up and put it in 4-wheel drive, took it nice and slow, got it back on its wheels. But the second time, it was on 2 wheels, and it was teetering to the side and to the left, and it ended up going right back on 2 wheels. And when it fell down, I continued to record, and I ended up going back down in the Star Canyon. But it was a real hairy situation. And again, this is just some of the dangers that we have to put up with or deal with on investigations. You cannot get back to certain remote places unless you're willing to either A, journey on foot or hike, or B, off-road to such locations. The problem is that vehicles are not 100% damage-proof or foolproof. You can get flat, you can roll, you can get stuck in the harsh terrain on some rocks or mud or snow. And I was filming, and I know Sue in one day got to experience a little bit of everything in the Wild West, all the way from drinking to hiking to seeing ghost towns to dying all in the same day, And that's basically what happened is, if we would have rolled it, who knows what would have happened. It's very dangerous. I kept driving and driving because if I would have stopped, the truck probably would have rolled. But I kept going, and the momentum of the vehicle, it grappled the rocks and pulled me onto the canyon road and not over the edge. And, some people, they think we're going to roll or we're going to get hurt a lot of times because things are dangerous, and you got to remain calm, cool, and collective. And because I remained calm and cool, we got out of the canyon in one piece, luckily. But I can't say anything about the Nissan Xterra. It's a damn good vehicle. It saved my life. Sue rented a really great vehicle. The only difference is that we are just in a sticky situation. And it's a good thing that the rental was insured, because it became all scratched up because the road was so narrow in some spots that the woods and the brush were rubbing against the sides, while other parts just dropped off along the Star Canyon Creek. And, it's a rough road to the mine, and it's a rough road down from the mine, a good half mile of extreme off-roading, and you can fall, you can die. or get injured or get stranded. And we managed to get out of Stark Canyon, and it felt good to get home in time for dinner and still experience the paranormal. And Sue said to me, well, it was worth it, and some things are worth dying for. So anyways, check us out before the show cuts off at www.paranormalghostsociety.org. And you can see more of our work in the investigation archives, including these cases, which I will be adding next month, to our website. And you can see video footage of the off-roading and the emotions and all these creepy things that we encountered in dangerous situations. I think you'll have greater respect for the commitment and the hard work, along with the passion we have for the unknown and the paranormal. And any day in the Wild West where you can live, die, have a good time, see some strange things, experience history, all those things at once, is a damn fine day in my book as far as paranormal investigating goes. Anyways, this is Lord Rick. Peace.
And here we be.
Blog Talk Radio.
All right, we are here. We are here. Somebody is here. Okay, welcome aboard Half Past Dead, Paranormal and Strange.
Okay, stand by. Okay, it just said coming on 29 minutes live, and now I got some sort of bleeding advertisement. Anybody else?
I'm not seeing anything, but...
Okay, title is Half Past Dead Paranormal. Call in and speak with the host. There we are.
Right. 3828-253. Who we got?
Okay, there is a 15 to 30 second delay.
Okay. Somebody's here now. I'm not sure who. They're here, but they're not speaking.
See, like last week, we had chat.
Right. Okay.
Hey, do we have anybody else listening to us?
There's somebody here. 253-970-3828. They're here, but they're not saying anything.
Me? No, 3828.
Oh, so that's you then. Okay.
No, that's not me.
People knowing their phone numbers.
There we go.
I do got people that stalk my kids. All right. If you want me to speak, I'm here. What numbers? It's broadcasting live. So you're good. You're good.
Good deal. Great. Okay. More people coming in now. 403-1404.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Rick?
Is he not here yet?
I hear everybody. But when everybody talks at once, I have a hard time making out who's talking. So if you want to, guys, have taken questions, if people want to call in and ask questions, that's cool. Or I can give them at least information that they can put to use as far as cryptozoology goes and parapsychology and all those other paranormal things we work with.
Welcome aboard, Rick. The floor is yours, my friend. Do what you feel there.
Well, like I said, if anybody wants to call in with their questions, I didn't have time in the first episode to take questions. I mean, I took Mishka's question, which she had a really good question, or a couple good questions, I should say. So if anybody really wants to, go all out and call in, now's your chance to ask me you ever wanted to ask me about the world of the unknown. Years, this is before all these groups form from the show, and some want to do it as a hobby, and that's fine. It is a hobby. There's wrong with being consumed with something that keeps you busy and that's good for you. In some cases, in my case, the paranormal is not good for me. It's something that is always ongoing in my life. It's not a hobby for me. I mean, it's a 24-hour thing, and it's always going to be that way. And, you know, I'll never sell out my listeners or my fans or my friends. I was on paranormal TV hunting monsters or whatever in the desert. Well, they weren't hunting monsters in the desert. They were parked in a 100-foot area pretending like they were hunting monsters. Me, I was on contract, really, so I took off and I roamed the mountains of the desert and ran into one of these Hell Hounds. The same thing they were looking for, but the only reason why I found it is because I decided to go in no man's land, because I was in some deep canyon with like 50-foot walls on both sides. I was like, am I ever going to get out of this thing? And it was storming, too. And so during that time period, water comes flowing in these canyons. They get flash floods where the waves like 20, 30 feet. It's like, yeah, that would be fine if I had a surfboard, but I don't have a surfboard. So if I get swept in the canyon, I'm going to drown. But I had a hellhound experience up there, and, you know, they're sitting there faking hellhounds. They're bringing in German shepherds and keep a little snack in the hand. German shepherd runs to them, and then you got Jag Osborne holding the camera saying, oh, holy shit, you know, acting all scared. It's like, please, man, I just got done 6 hours in the middle of the desert hiking. And everybody thinks that the desert is just this flat, sandy area. People don't understand how deserts are here in the Wild West. The deserts, there's high deserts. So there's like a mountain range that runs parallel with the Sierras, and that mountain range has forest all throughout it. The pine nuts the early Washoe used to gather, and of course they're aware in this area of the strange lights in the sky, a lot of strange lights in the sky. And I don't really pay much mind. You know, I look a lot towards the skies, but I don't always sit there and just UFO watch 24/7. But you know, we had a wave of UFOs hit an area which really grabbed my interest. See, I just moved, but back at my old place, I lived nestled between the Sierras, the Carson foothills, which are the foothills to the Carson Pass, and then the Pine Nut Mountains. So I was in there pretty good, you know. And the hills continue to have strange things. The mountains, the hills, everything around there. I started getting in a lot of UFO reports, but I got in anonymous ones. Because people are very scared of the government, the men in black, and people coming after me. I'm a little different. I'm like you. The men in black can show up, and I'm probably going to laugh at them. I am. I'm going to say, you want to get stoned? Because I'm telling you right now, these people that give into the fear are the ones who lose. We can't just go hiding information. We're a public paranormal research organization, so all our work gets shown, the good, the bad, the paranormal. And so these UFOs, which of course have been associated with Bigfoot, which makes sense of why they're over some of the most remote parts of this, because they're dropping off, picking up, you know, and sending these creatures to scout or survey the land. And there's only a couple of them, so who's going to see them? But we get Bigfoot reports in this area, and I had a guy write me who wants to join the team. He set up for an interview next week. I'm going to interview him. He's a paranormal group, but they always focus on Bigfoot. And he said a few weeks ago he was walking up in the Sierras, or the edge of the Sierras, probably an area like before, and he inched up on water sleeping. And then he said he realized that it was very large Sasquatch with brown hair. And he said you could just breathing in and out. And he's like, he says, I want to take you to the spot. He goes, I know they're back there. We're always getting new Bigfoot prospects, but when I see something, I chase it too. You know, I see a UFO, I chase it. I see a ghost, I chase it. You'll never see me be a coward or run away. And we had somebody join a group a week ago, told me I was a coward. It's like, I don't think so. Let me take you 11,000 feet up and 8 feet where there's avalanches all, we'll talk. We'll talk, seriously. But these creatures and these Bigfoot sometimes chase down, not hunt them, but you really got to be aware that they're here. And so a lot of our work in the Lake Tahoe region deals with the UFOs, Bigfoot. It's the Sierra Triangle. So there are missing planes and strange disappearances and vanishings and all these little things live. In my backyard is like the Cardinals, which are basically a hide to an outpost. And right before I moved, I did 2 expeditions there, and then I did a UFO investigation prior to that. Because some of the UFOs that I was filming were over those hills. And I went back there, I wanted to see what is back here that these UFOs want. And you find mutilations back there. I found mutilations. I found a huge, 2-mile-long lake, an old Indian dam, and there was obviously cattle running free because there was cow pies everywhere. I mean, it was very offbeat. And I did this expedition on my mountain bike, because we do mountain biking expeditions. And see, that's what makes our paranormal group different, is we know that nothing gets handed to us. We have to work for what we got, even if that means breaking a couple bones here and there and getting hurt. We go up into the hills, and like last week, Tammy, who's also on the team, when she can be on the team, we'll go to these ghost towns. There's a ghost town here out in the mountains of Nevada, and we found a bunch of den-like thing, like it was made of branches and brush and all hollowed out inside. They look like den that little gorillas, actually big enough for a big gorilla to sit in. It was strange, and I took a picture with her standing next to a mountain lion. I didn't even know it, because that's the whole point. Is as far as finding Sasquatch and all that, it's an elusive creature, and it's like we don't even see these mountain lions that come right up on top and stand on the rocks and look down at you like this is going to be a nice tuna salad or something. I mean, they're out there. When Sue came out with me a couple weeks ago, I'm not sure what she thought it was going to be, because it was funny, because she said to me, I'm all about adventure. I'll go to space, count me in, this and that. And she's, she did come to most of the places with us, but I told her, I said, your most challenging place will be conquering the high Sierras. And when I say conquering, you got to go 11,000 feet. You got to. You got to go into some massive canyon and walk across some creek and experience the waterfalls and hidden caves. And, sometimes we get very close encounters with Bigfoot himself. I don't care if people don't believe me. I don't do this for fame. I don't do this for money. I do it because I love it. See, I live a drama-free life. You won't see me associating with hardly anyone in the paranormal field. It's not even because I think I'm better. It's because of all the drama that's involved in it. And I spend less time with the drama. I spend more time out in Mother Nature. It's like, I don't care who's talking about me online. I'm out in Mother Nature looking for Bigfoot, smoking, camping, hiking, fishing, because our investigative team will mountain bike. We'll fish halfway between an investigation. We'll go hit a pub, go fishing, and then we'll go look for some ghosts. I mean, it's the Wild West. There's ghosts, there's paranormal, there's Bigfoot everywhere. And I know a lot about ghosts because I've been dealing with them my whole life. And I don't find ghosts challenging to get anymore, because I know how to take their picture. I know how to, work with them, talk to them, make the EMF go up. So, Bigfoot's a little more exciting for me. You see a Bigfoot walking through the woods, you follow that thing. You don't run from it, you follow it because you want to know more about it. And, there's a lot of risk that comes with great rewards. But went into the Carson Hills, looked for UFOs. I found mutilations. I also found that someone was stalking us deep in the hills because I stashed my bikes. I mean, I told my kids, I said, let's stash the bikes. Let's do some hiking on foot. And we climbed this canyon full of thistle brush and rocks the size of Volkswagens, and we're trying to make our way through the canyon. We come up. I had a GPS. How many GPS live said the lake was 0.3 miles. We had 2 more miles of hiking to go. And you just, you climb down in the mines. They have these mines where it's just open pit mining, or, where they just take the whole side of a mountain away. I mean, I can't think of the word, and here I am. I know all kinds of mining. But strip mine, that's what it is. And they're stripping entire mountains that I used to off-road around. So I'm starting to think that maybe the UFOs that are, all these UFO sightings over there, it's maybe they don't like what's being done to the environment. If they're Earth-friendly UFOs, which probably think humanity is going to blow itself up. So, we went over there. I did a UFO investigation, found some really strange things during it, some tracks, and it was a landing. You could see there was a landing that took place up on the hill. But that just sparked my interest to go into the Carson Hills. And in the hills, all the hills is there a bunch of foothills, and they go up right into the Carson Pass, and the Carson Pass is the heart. It's the lifeline of the Sierras. You can cross the Carson Pass and go right on into Sacramento, Stockton, right into the California Valley. And that pass was used by the Indians, and they had found a bunch of, in the 1840s, a bunch of Mormons. They were massacred, and the local natives buried them and gave them grave sites. So we know the Native Americans didn't do it. So coming into this terrain, you know this area, the Sierras, the Carson area, there's just Lake Tahoe and all that these Bigfoot creatures were very predominant in the area, and they're being pushed back from the so-called foothills I was roaming. They're being pushed back further into the mountains, and it's not far. You got peaks 2-3 miles away. Those peaks 10,000, 11,000 feet up. They're all volcanic spires filled with 8 feet of snow. And so we tracked on an investigation 5 miles in on snow, walking over a river that's about to crack. You fall through the ice there, get swept under, die. Just like that. Life's over. It's nice being a paranormal investigator. But I got, you go through that, and when you truck 5 miles in 8 feet of snow, and you actually do it up, and you live the high Sierras, no elevation sickness, you can do it in a matter of, you feel like you're Superman, You'll go 5 miles, and you're there an hour later. You're like, there must have been a smoke break between. Must have been. But we find our stuff because we work hard. It's these TV shows, the fame, the fortune, the limelight, that's all they're after. Because the first time somebody might be really good in the paranormal, and a TV network like Sci-Fi will bring them on and tell them, this is the way it goes. You don't you don't go along with us faking the footage. That means no ratings, no second season. And they get taken by greed, because they're like, really? You're going to pay me $1,500 an episode, and if it goes to season 2, you're going to pay me $2,500 an episode? And they don't even walk. They don't even walk on any of these TV shows. 100 I'm trying it and taking up in the high Sierras, even in the snow, man, in 8 feet of snow, because that's what you got to do. You have to look for the Bigfoot. You have to be the Bigfoot, because if you're not going to be a Bigfoot, they're never going to come out for you. They come out for me. I also piss them off sometimes. Sometimes I get rocks and shit thrown at me. I'm okay with saying that. We're in its territory. Just like that rabbit that got caught. It was crossing the road and it got smashed. It's our fault. We built the roads into Mother Nature, and this is Bigfoot country out here on the West Coast. Lake Tahoe, 100 miles north of Tahoe, 100 miles south of Tahoe. You have multiple national forests, cliffs, canyons, places where planes go down and are never found. And I go into the Sierra Triangle all the time. Even though I know people vanish and die and all these things, I still keep going into the Sierra Triangle. It's like going in the Bermuda Triangle like every day. It's like, hey, I'm going to go to Bermuda today. I know that I won't ever disappear. You know, there's triangles all over Earth, but there's one here where I live. And those hills are in the heart of it, really. And it's strange when you come across a carcass that looks like it's been mutilated, just the head. It's like, where's the rest of the bones and body? What about the spine attached to it? You know, you see things like that, and you get fouled out there. And I guess, you know, sometimes I see things that I'm really not supposed to be seeing. You know what I mean? But that's part of being a paranormal investigator. It's to go beyond the norm of any other man. And people should, and they should. I mean, but I see a lot of people in my paranormal community. I should be allowed to oust them. I should. I mean, if I see somebody who's fake and bullying other groups and women and people, I should be able to oust them, because my career is a very long-standing one in the paranormal. And that's why a lot of people, you know, they don't want to have me on as a guest on their show, because I tell it like the way it is. They want it being told in another light. And it's like, I'm not going to sell it my friends, my fans, just because TV's $1,000 in front of my face. I'd be like, you know what? This you call an adventure, me standing around 100 feet pretending like I'm hiking off into the wilderness? I don't think so. I'll just hike off in the wilderness. See you in 12 hours. Bye. Just like that. And I have peace and quiet, and I don't deal with drama, television shows, dropping line, because I'm always doing my work. Nobody could say, hey, he's not doing his work. I spent 2 hours last night listening to EVPs from Folsom Lake. And Folsom Lake's also in the mountains. It's in the lower Sierras, which is still mountainous. It's drying up. Gold Rush ghost towns are being exposed. People, treasure hunters, are robbing from the town sites. They're going there with metal detectors. It's against the law. You can't do it. It's supposed to be preserved. And so I was listening to EVPs about the investigation last night, and I heard Faye. She's our moderator for Google+. Actually, we have 15 to 20 moderators, but we only hear from 2 of them, you know. I mean, it's just stupid stuff like that. People aren't thinking. It's like at least you know I've been around aliens and UFOs and Bigfoot and these things. I'm the person you talk to. So, you know, Faye helped out. She was staff. She lives in Sacramento. Big deal. I drive to Sacramento, a couple hours away. I go to California all the time. California is the bomb. You go to California, you go to the old saloons and hit the pubs and the mountains and, you know, go hiking looking for Bigfoot. Everybody has fun. We hike for 10 miles and see waterfalls 1,000 feet tall. I mean, it's nice. But we always find something because we dig deep and we work hard. You know, and when I'm out in the wilderness, you know, let them people talk bad about me, but I'm sitting on some cliff with my backpack and I got myself a 6-pack in my bag. I don't care. No drama. Just Mother Nature and me. It's about the purest you're ever going to get. And so, you know, I welcome people to join me on my journeys, but I also am here to kind of answer questions because, you know, I've been around a long time and I've seen the paranormal community change. Nowadays, people are always talking about television. I get sick of hearing it. I don't care. There are some good UFO documentaries because they do post government documents, leaked documents. You can't deny seeing those. I mean, that makes it real. But this cheesy acting and these people who think 100 speckles of brown dust is orbs, that mentality and that way of thinking is going to have to change, or there's not going to be a paranormal community, because I will separate myself from the whole world. I don't care, and I will just keep chasing the unknown. Even if I don't have a website, I'll chase it, and nobody will know what happened. But I want my work to be available publicly. I'm just letting people know. We don't sell our friends out. We are, as much as we're here to learn, but we're also here to teach. And the only way you get experience is going out in the field. So I do a lot of field work. I've suffered. I almost spent 40 hours one night on a mountain doing field work. We hiked and hiked and hiked till sundown. Slept on our backpacks. Took our backpacks, made it into a pillow. Didn't have no blankets. Was wearing summer clothes. It got down to 30 that night. Froze up on the mountain. You get up 6, 7 in the morning and just start climbing again all day long till the next morning. I mean, that's really what investigating is about. And you don't become good in the field if you don't do mass amounts of investigations, because not every place is haunted, even though some paranormal groups will tell you they are. You know, you got to go with science, debunk things when it's necessary, and take a professional but scientific approach to the evidence that you find. And that's what we do. We go out and we find evidence, but we preserve and fix cemeteries. We cover the history of every place. We share our reports, our EVs, our everything. I used to not do videos. Last few years, I do nothing but videos, because people get to see it with their eyes live. And I use an HD cam for all my videos now, because it's just, we want people to be a part of the journey. And when I come close to Bigfoot, I want people to know, yeah, I risked myself to do this. I was probably out there freezing in the rain to look for this thing. Or, I'm a tracker, so I can almost track anything. If you're Bigfoot, you're not going to hide from me. There's just no way. I know the woods as good as he knows the woods, even better. So I know a lot about the creature. I mean, based on, when we did these investigations, I've been working on Bigfoot on the East Coast too, but we took it 10 times higher here along the Sierra Nevadas. And there are reports that come in. If you look at a Bigfoot sighting map, this area is pink for 100 miles. There's so many dots that it covers the entire eastern half of California, that goes along Nevada, all pink, all dots, because there's always Bigfoot up here, always. And other people are writing me, multiple people are writing me. This is this week alone of where I can find this thing. So it's out there. And that's our work. That's our work that we do. We go out there. We climb mountains. We climb peaks. We climb cliffs. Squeeze in holes and caves if we find them. But we also deal with bear. There's dangers. Anyways, yeah, I'll take questions right now if anybody has them, because I could talk about the unknown forever. Let's face it. So. If you got them, ask them.
Rick?
Yeah.
And that's quite evident, partner. You are a true paranormal investigator. As if anybody might be wondering, basically, how would one go about it? Now, let me explain why I'm asking. I've got to do surgery on my knees. I can't do the climbing like I used to when I lived in Colorado. Not in the fact that my asthma is not conducive for high altitudes. So what I'm asking is basically, how would someone else get started with finding Sashi?
Well,
Sasquatch.
I guess that would be up to the person, because even the odds and at the staff's highest in the air, so many other places out there in Mike, they're flat, easier that have visible Bigfoot. I mean, Tennessee's, you know, altitudes. I have, and I've been known, so in climbing the mountains, say that you gas from oxygen, you know, and it may not be good for someone who's asking. It doesn't mean you can't be a physical investigator, because there is so much paranormal out there for the taking. I can't cover the Midwest where they have Bigfoot. I can't cover the East Coast because I don't live there. Sometimes our members will send money and be like, we want you to do this place. And I'll be like, okay, I'll do it. I'll stay overnight 3 nights there and do it. But the only way you become good and become serious is by doing it over and over, and also learning from your mistakes, because all paranormal investigators make is mistakes. They all do. I do. You might take a photo and think it's something, and later you look at it again, you're like, I'm not so sure anymore, you know? I mean, when we started, we used to take pics of orbs, and I learned about them more and more, and I don't share any of those anymore, unless they got like an odd face or something inside that's like, whoa, that's kind of weird. But, well, you know, you learn as you go. You learn as you go.
Now, out here where I'm at, now I'm here in the Pacific Northwest, and we have the Cascades, and we are still having reports of Bigfoot out here, and they're not as, you know, the Cascades aren't quite as high as your 11,000. They're in the Sierra Nevadas. So just basically follow the high country is what you're saying.
You could. I want a good Cascade. See, they go through portion Idaho, and Idaho is just north of me. And I wanted to go camping there and stuff, but they have valley trails. Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but in the Sierras, they have these massive valleys, and they're flat. But those valleys have little creeks and mud, and they're good areas to look for Sasquatch. At least it's much lower altitude, too. You know, you may have mountains in the background, but those valleys exist everywhere in the cave. A few like that. And those are good places because he's got to come down the drink, come down the hunt, especially if think if it's a meat, it might eat bear, steal people's trash. Who knows? Maybe it's a messenger, like a raccoon. But I mean, the thing is, it's people all across the world, if they're willing to try their best. You know, it's important to give up. I gave up a couple weeks ago. It was having to hike through 8 feet of snow. Some parts were hard, other parts went up to my waist. So 2 of my toes froze. I thought I had frostbite because I couldn't feel either of them. It took like 3 hours for it to defrost, I swear. You know, but you have to decide, does the risk outweigh the rewards? Or is the reward so important that it needs to be addressed? And, of course, that reward is, you know, finding Bigfoot, a downed UFO, alien bodies, ghost, some other unexplained entity. I mean, there's a lot of different paranormal things out there. A lot.
We're probably going to be getting cut off here soon, so any more questions? Anybody want to ask questions, you better do it now.
Yeah, people should really call in because, I mean, I can tell you about my journeys, but if you ask questions from me, the whole sole purpose is to inspire and to be able to teach others, about the world that we live in. Because this group here, we cover, we cover history and nature, and we're more than just a paranormal group. But the paranormal is the most major topic here.
Being paranormal investigators, truthfully, our job is to educate and help others. We're not, I've seen too many times where these shows are you serious? You really expect us to believe that? I'm even beginning to doubt the GAC boys from time to time.
Yeah. I know that those productions are fake. I have inside people, and I was part of one, so I don't do it anymore. I don't. And I'm like, I really don't think I'll be on your show unless you can prove it's real.
I don't believe
I hear you.
Yeah.
I really don't believe in the TV shows. I think that, the networks are going to enforce their power of will or whatever, and they're going to do what they want them to do because of the almighty dollar, So it kind of puts a damper on my faith in any of them, just the way it is.
We've had at least 5 offers for my team to do some sort of televised show, and me and my co-founders basically emailed them back, "Are you kidding? Are you for real? Seriously? No, thank you." Because we know the price that we're going to have to pay is not being true to what we do.
Your dignity is as a paranormal investigator is just as, to me is just as important as the evidence that you get. If you sell out to the network, you're selling out your dignity is what you're doing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think reputability and dignity is more important. That people want to buy my stuff. They want to buy my ghost video, and then they want to give it to like Ghost Adventures to use and pretend to be theirs. It's like, I don't like that, because I work hard to get what I get. My body is in a medical nightmare. My body is a wreck. I'm still doing it up, even if I hobble through the mountains or I could be climbing cliffs, and I don't care. I'd rather do that than be controlled to say. You're on a film production, and you're in a haunted house. They're going to tell you, now you act scared. Now you react. Now you pretend like that's a ghost. And it's ridiculous.
It's all
celebrities on paranormal TV, come on. Even non-celebrities, It's acting.
How about run?
What was that, Roger?
On the Ghost Hunters episode, I don't know if y'all saw the one or not, where back when the young guy Brian was on there.
Yeah.
And he did the run, dude, run.
Man, I don't run in the face of darkness. If I see aliens and grays walking around, I'm going to walk up to them. I will. I will. I will walk up to them. It doesn't bother me.
Admittedly, I will get startled, but I will be right back at the, okay, you got me. Okay, now, you come talk to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. A paranormal investigator is supposed to be that way, but in today's times, a bad breed is coming out, and that breed thinks that they don't have to work for any of this, and it's like, you're never going to see Bigfoot like I did. I seen him because I went on a no-name peak. And we have to take that mentality in the paranormal field. It's, balls in, all of it, because if you run from it, because we get people who join our team and they last half an investigation. They get scared, they run, paranoid, thinking they're going to die, because they're at 11,000 feet up. And it's like, I do this millions and millions of times. I trust my enough my kids on most of my investigations. and they've learned from me. They can outdo an adult every single time. They've learned from the best, and I've taught them everything. Because as we get all old, we all slow down. But it doesn't mean that we can't take that knowledge and pass it on to others to use in life and to use in the paranormal field itself. So it's, we make a positive impact, and I definitely should, considering I got a disease in both my knees and bulging disc and a broken neck and a screwed up neck and all these other things. But I'm still out there,
I admire the fact that you can do that because I can't do it. I wish I could. If I could, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Because I love, I love the investigation. I love the, finding stuff that people say you can't find. And I can't walk that good much for very long, much less climb. So that puts me out of that department. But I still investigate level ground and, houses and whatnot, but I can't climb the hills. And
I hear you, Roger.
So, unless Bigfoot wants to come down here on level ground and wave at me, chances are I'm not going to see him, but, I would love to.
I would love to meet more people out there, but honestly, I scare people away. I do. I'm very honest. There's a lot of radio shows who are banning to have me on. They don't want me, apparently, to tell people UFO disclosure or about some of the things I know that they don't know. I've snuck on military bases and stuff. I have. I've broken the law quite a few times. But I have a story to tell. And the thing is that people... we had 6 people write to join our team, and all 6 said, I want to do this, and that. Now they're having second thoughts, People need to get more involved in the paranormal. But the paranormal, where it's at, is get you live in Tennessee. There's Bigfoot up in Tennessee, there are parts of the world that have wonderful paranormal activity. And I just happen to live in one hot spot. That's just one hot spot. There's one out in Tennessee. There's one in Georgia. There's one in New York. I've traveled around the country looking for the paranormal. It's there for the taking. It's just there's a lot of people. Every week I get bothered by tons of drama, and I always just laugh at it. I'm like, well, at least I could say one thing. I eat good food. I smoke good green. I spend a lot of time in nature. I spend a lot of time with my kids, and I'm married to my paranormal degree, so I'm always working at 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Either I'm helping somebody, running my site, working on adding cases to our site, which takes, by the way, a long time. That last update took me 3 weeks to do to get on my site. It was very tedious. Yeah, just tedious work. And last night I spent 2 hours going through pictures that I took at Folsom Lake. And then I had 2 hours of EVPs I listened to, and it's like it's still not done. I still got to get it ready to go on the site so people can look at it, learn, and hopefully try to preserve the place before all the treasure hunters take everything from it. Because that's all they're doing. They're going to Folsom Lake. They're just going to these ghost town sites because the water's down, and they're just digging up all kinds of artifacts for themselves to get rich, probably sell on eBay. So it pisses me off. So our message is more than just about the paranormal. It's about preservation. And for those that are listening, I do have a website because there's some people who just are first-time listeners or don't know me, and that's
Paranormal Ghost Society. This is Lord Rick.